My name is John Petrey. I'm a sculptor. I work with copper, steel, aluminum, and repurposed industrial materials and vintage materials. The work that I show a lot, and most of my recent career has been built on, is clothing, men's and women's sculptural dresses and suits, all made of metal. For the first 25 years plus or minus of my career, I was a commercial photographer and directed TV commercials. After 25, 26 years of advertising, I decided to walk away. So I went back working with my hands and analyzed what I enjoyed doing. I'm not a painter, never have been, never will be. I love to make dimensional work. I love discovering materials and figuring out how to utilize them in a different way than what they were intended for. So for the last 15, 16 years, I've been a sculptor. My work is very material driven. Sometimes I will go to a material that I am comfortable with. For example, I use massive amounts of bottle caps. I layer them and it creates a scalloped pattern. You can see that in some of my dress pieces. But then on a pretty regular basis, I come across a material that I've never worked with before, and I look at it, what is it designed for? What can I use it for? Then I get into the build. A lot of times it depends on how many I can get of a found object, like the dog tags. I have a limited number of them. Versus bottle caps, I use new bottle caps. I can buy them in case lots of 12,000. So I can do bottle caps until the end of time, but dog tags are either harder to find or can be very pricey, that type of thing. I also use vintage signs. Vintage signs have gotten very pricey over the last few years, so I have to be pickier about what I buy and what can I make from a set amount of material. My work has an aspect of nostalgia to it. As a kid, my mom owned beauty salons. So after school, my daycare was in the beauty salons. I stayed there in the back room, and there's some influence in the historical aspect of my work. I do that all the way to very, very contemporary Japanese subculture inspired work along the way. The 50s, the 60s, the era that I grew up in. And the biggest joy I get out of my work is people come and see it thinking that it's fabric because it flows, it has shape. And then they get up close to it and they see what it is and the wonderment in their eyes. And it makes them smile. My work is done at that point. I just want to make people happy.